Few scenes better in all of sports than Saturday night in Death Valley. The LSU Tigers on their Tiger Walk, being welcomed back into Baton Rouge following an opening season loss to USC, trying to get back on track in Tiger Stadium. And we welcome you to Tiger Stadium for the 100th year of football here at this gem in the South as the LSU Tigers kick off their home opener against in-state foe Nicholls from Thibodaux, Louisiana. The first ever meeting between these in-state foes. Hi again, everybody, alongside Dustin Fox, Matt Schumacher with you. This is the 5th year in a row that LSU has lost their opening game. But, Dustin, unlike in years past, all hope is not lost with the expanded playoff. Still a lot of season to play for the Tigers.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The margin for error is certainly a lot thinner than it was in the past. Heck, when I played in the early 2000s, we had the BCS. We wouldn't be even close to being in this situation. They are, in a position where everything is still right in front of them.
Part of their plan to get back on track begins with the ground game. And for more on the running back situation, we welcome in the third member of our team, Alex Chappell.
Hey there, Matt and Dustin. Well, when we talked with Brian Kelly yesterday, he told us his heart breaks for John Emery. Emery tore his ACL in his left knee, and he will miss the remainder of the season. So the Tigers shuffling things up a bit. The running back room looking a bit different. LSU now has Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, and Caden Durham. Added to the mix is true freshman Jawan Johnson. He's making the move from defensive back to running back, and offensive coordinator Joe Sloan telling us expect to see Johnson get some game action tonight against Nicholls. Matt?
Well, thank you very much, Alex. And head coach Brian Kelly was pretty adamant in his meeting with us on Friday. We have to finish better, but beyond that, Dustin Fox, we have to start better against a team like Nicholls. Cannot let them hang around tonight in the Bayou.
Well, again, they're going to receive the football and an opportunity to go down the field very similar to the way that they did on Sunday evening against USC. The difference is they're hoping to get some points this time.
Gabe Showalter to kick it off for Nicholls. First ever meeting between these two programs. And Xavier Thomas is going to take it out, middle of the end zone. And he is brought down in front of his own 15-yard line. And so that is where the first offensive drive will begin for this LSU Tigers offense, led, of course, by Garrett Nussmeier. First year as QB1 here at Tiger Stadium. Coming off an excellent performance in the loss to USC. First play of the game is over the middle. And it's C.J. Daniels making the reception.
Well, that's a nice way to start out of the gate, as they go a little bit of tempo here.
Well, and Dustin, we saw this in the loss to USC. They marched right down the field, 7 minutes, 74 yards. They just couldn't come up with a touchdown to capitalize.
Well, that's always the bugaboo. I mean, execution is something that is certainly key. 4th and 3 on the goal line, 4th and goal from the goal line. They were trying to get the touchdown. Hindsight, of course, 2020. People will look back, man, wish we had that 3 points right there to start the game.
Number 66, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That is a false start on the left tackle, Will Campbell. Our referee tonight, Jeff Heiser. And Rick Lumiere, our replay official, up here in the press box. Josh Williams in the backfield with Garrett Nussmeier. Expects to get the bulk of the carries with John Emery out for the year. Second straight year tearing his ACL, as Alex noted in the open. Here is Aaron Anderson on the quick throw out and gets back all of what was lost on the false start.
I'll be very curious to see how LSU and Nicholls sort of match up here tonight. As we know, Nicholls has they've got a really good defense. They play a lot of press coverage. They're very aggressive and their attacking nature. They create a lot of turnovers. Obviously a big step up here in competition, but probably the strength of their team is the defense.
Well, to your point, defense forced 4 turnovers last week in the loss to Louisiana Tech. A tight game against an in-state FBS opponent. Long shot on 2nd and 9, and making the catch but out of bounds is Shelton Sampson Jr., who we expect to see get a lot of run tonight, Dustin, without Chris Hilton Jr. and without Kyle Parker on the outside for the Tigers.
Yeah, some opportunities for some younger players to step up, and you know, Shelton Sampson's one of those guys that Brian Kelly's been talking about, especially this week. They really need him to step up and be a part of this offense, be a playmaker. So here you go, 3rd and about 9. They took a shot there on 2nd and long as you got man coverage across the board. Let's see what happens here as it looks like tight coverage again. Middle field safety's only about 9 yards deep.
Late shift. 2 seconds on the play clock. Pressure coming. Nussmeier's pass is batted down by Jake Del Mato. And it was Quentin Sharkey getting after the quarterback in the backfield. That is a win for this Nicholls defense, forcing a punt on the first offensive possession of the game.
Such a huge stop, just from a standpoint of morale for Nicholls coming in here. Obviously a hostile, loud environment on a Saturday night, and to get a 3 and out, well, not a 3 and out, but essentially a 3 and out here is huge.
Felt like it. It was quick enough.
No doubt. First play was a first down, then an ensuing 3 and out, so to speak.
Peyton Todd booting it away. Terry Matthews back to receive at his own 20. And he is brought down promptly by Whit Weeks, who you will see extensively on the defense in the middle of the field for this LSU Tigers team. Nicholls Colonels led by 2nd year starter Pat McQuaid. 2nd team All Southland Conference a season ago. Passed for over 2,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. His head coach Tim Rebowe told us we need him to be better tonight against LSU, but he does not have to win the game by himself. Handoff goes to Marquise Albert, and he is brought out of bounds after a gain of 2.
And you say, well, why we seeing Albert here tonight? Is if you're a Nicholls fan, you know, Jalen Spears, their top running back, kind of banged up last week. Not sure how much we will see him tonight.
We were told that they held him out of the second half of their loss to Louisiana Tech, held him out of early practice this week, thought he might be able to go tonight. That could be a big miss for the reigning player of the year out of the conference. And that is Colin Guggenheim, brought down in the backfield. P.J. Woodland, the freshman at corner, making his first career start for the Tigers on the tackle.
Boy, and they are really excited about this young corner, the freshman corner out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Doesn't have a lot of size quite yet in terms of his bulk, but he's going to get there.
3rd and 9. McQuaid under pressure and is brought down. Whit Weeks makes the tackle. And it brings up 4th down for the Colonels.
Boy, things really opened up here in a hurry, and it looked like McQuaid was going to have a lane to maybe pick up that first down, but it closed. Watch 40. Just sideline to sideline with that speed. Again, it looked like McQuaid was going to maybe pick up the first down, but a nice stop here for the LSU Tiger defense.
Kylan Dupree, the punter, and back to receive is Xavier Thomas, the terrific punt returner last year at Mississippi State. Dupree just has to kick it out of the end zone, and the first 2 points of the game come on a miscue on the special teams unit. And there is a flag in the back of the end zone at the end of that play.
Kicking team. That penalty's declined by rule. Safety.
I think that was Elijah Reams, the long snapper. Maybe a little bit of nerves, the kid from Baton Rouge coming back and playing in Tiger Stadium.
And Dupree really didn't have an option there, Dustin.
No, I mean, that's the smart play. It's all you can do in that situation. Avoid the disaster, which would be a touchdown for the Tigers. Kick it out of the back of the end zone and sort of live to fight another day.
Not the start you want if you've made the trip here from Thibodaux, Louisiana, wearing Nicholls red. Tim Rebowe not pleased. He has been part of some major program wins against FBS opponents in the past. The last one at Kansas in 2018. So now Xavier Thomas will get his second kickoff return attempt here. And they are thrilled to have him coming over from Mississippi State, where he was so dynamic in the return game. Dupree, a high spiraling kick to the 20. And now Thomas out across the 40. There goes Thomas at midfield. Breaks a tackle. Thomas into the open field. And he is shoved out of bounds in plus territory. He sets this up perfect, Dustin.
Yeah, he really does. Comes off to the right side and just really kind of bounces it all the way across the coverage, and nearly a tackle made by a defender there, by a Colonel defender, I should say. And well, you talked about it. Xavier Thomas has some elusive ability. As I think it's Jaden Milton, 27 there, who I believe misses the tackle and then ends up getting run down.
58-yard return puts the ball inside the Nicholls 30 after the safety on the botched punt. Nussmeier, deep shot, and overthrows the head of his intended receiver, C.J. Daniels. Kendarius Smith on the coverage for the Colonels.
I like the coverage in the back end so far, as they've tried to take some shots down the field and really test that secondary of Nicholls. That's 2 times now they've taken deep shots down the field in man coverage, and the Colonels have held up.
Kendarius Smith led the conference last year in pass breakups. First team all-league in 2023. Nussmeier flipping it out. And a pickup of 5 or 6. No, they'll give him 4 on the spot. And that was Jawan Johnson making the catch out of the backfield, who Alex highlighted in the open was a high school quarterback recruited as a cornerback, and this week makes the move over to the running back room with the injury to John Emery.
Yeah, they're excited about him. So a lot of other running backs here will sort of step up the food chain, so to speak, here as they approach conference play a week from today.
To your point, now it's Caleb Jackson in the backfield for the Tigers. On 3rd and 6, what a catch. Mason Taylor, the sure-handed tight end.
Now it's going to bring up a 4th and a long yard, and I think the Tigers will keep their offense out here, no surprise. It's the first time they've been able to find their big tight end Mason Taylor in the flat, just a little bit short, but again sets up a very reasonable opportunity here on 4th and about 1.
Daniels in motion, the give to Jackson, who barrels ahead for a first down. 6 foot 235. He is a bruising running back between the tackles.
There's no doubt that Caleb Jackson, who is going to have to put a little bit more on his plate, I'm sure he's certainly excited about that. The young sophomore, local kid.
Went to Liberty High School here in Baton Rouge. 1st and 10 for LSU. Jackson sifting through the defense and upended just in front of the goal line. And a tackle made by Ethan Lee after a gain of 9. This is the type of running production that LSU and their offensive coordinator Joe Sloan have emphasized coming into 2024. Jackson barreling forward. No sign yet from the line judge, and he is stopped short.
You know, the one thing that was a positive from a week ago against Southern Cal was, at least Coach Kelly mentioned to us, is the offensive line play. And in the one position specifically they talked about was DJ Chester, who's playing that center position. They were sort of wondering how he would just get through the game. Would he be able to hold up? And he did extremely well. And you can see it even on this drive, that offensive line starting from the middle, doing a heck of a job getting a push.
Play action on 1st and goal is floated into the end zone, and it's Trey Green in his first touchdown catch in an LSU uniform. Damian Ramos, who was 72 of 72 last year on point afters, in for the PAT. And a 9-0 start for LSU.
Talk about a great start. Special teams getting it done. You got a safety because of a botched snap, then a 59-yard punt return after the safety sets up this touchdown. 9-0 from Baton Rouge.
Our week 3 SEC football lineup all begins Saturday, 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 a.m. Central. Number 9 Missouri and Boston College, followed by Arkansas hosting UAB, and capping off the night 14th ranked Tennessee hosting Kent State in Knoxville. Every game also available on the ESPN app. Nathan Dybert kicking off. And here is Terry Matthews, who is met hard at the 15-yard line. I beg your pardon, it was Marquise Albert returning it for the Colonels. First ever meeting between these two teams, separated by just 75 minutes down I-10.
Kind of wild to hear that Nicholls didn't stay the night last night. They traveled in day of the game this afternoon, just about an hour and 20-minute bus ride. So that's unique.
It is, and they are still searching for their first FBS win against an in-state opponent. Remember, coming off that tight loss to Louisiana Tech last week, in which they forced 5 takeaways but were not able to capitalize on offense. Colin Guggenheim on first down. Tim Rebowe told us they saw some of the comments that not just LSU but any FBS opponent they play makes when they play an FCS school. It's an opportunity to get some of the younger guys in. He said, not if we have anything to do about it.
And that's their goal, is to sort of prevent them from getting their younger guys in. There we go.
Colin Guggenheim sifting through the defense all the way up to the 35-yard line after a gain of 18.
No, that's all you can ask for if you're Nicholls, is to try and get some chunk plays to keep drives alive, and they do it right there. Huge conversion by Guggenheim, who is, 4th all-time at Nicholls in terms of rushing yards. He's played a ton of football for the Colonels.
Led the Southland Conference last year in rushing with over 830 yards. Remains in the game. McQuaid over the middle on 1st and 10, and the catch made by Jackson Dufresne, his first collegiate catch, and it comes at Tiger Stadium.
Not a bad place to have your first career college football catch against the LSU Tigers, right out near midfield.
He got up pretty cool and calm for making his first collegiate catch.
Act like you've been there.
This Nicholls team coming off their 4th playoff appearance since 2017 last year, won the league title and have been picked to repeat again here in 2024. This is a talented FCS program with a winning tradition.
No, they definitely are. And since Coach Rebo has taken over the program, they've just gone from 0 to hero in that conference. And I think this is going to be another year where they're going to be a contender in the playoffs.
There's Jackson Dufresne again.
That's twice now against Ashton Stamps. 6 foot, 190-pound corner out there that you see Dufresne matched up against Stamps, making a couple plays. 2 first down conversions on the edge to Jackson Dufresne.
Moves the sticks again for Nicholls. Guggenheim tackled by Whit Weeks, who the coaching staff raved about, particularly first-year defensive coordinator Blake Baker.
Yeah, Blake Baker comes over from Missouri, where he spent a couple seasons turning that defense into one of the best in the entire country, and of course comes back here to LSU, where he was on the staff prior to Brian Kelly taking over. And boy, he has done a tremendous job. They love what he's bringing to the table, really trying to turn the culture into something here that aligns with Coach Blake's philosophy, which is to be aggressive, play a lot of man coverage on the back end as well, and get some of those fire zones and pressures in as well. This is, if you want to stay in the ball game, I mean, this is a great way to do it. You know, you're extending the drive, picking up some key third down conversions. Here, another big one as they're inside LSU territory. And you got to think at this point in time, I mean, this is sort of that gray area. You got 2 plays here to maybe pick up the first down.
And you have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
Down 9-0 here in the first quarter. Guggenheim is tackled just across the 35. Harold Perkins Jr., preseason All-American and projected first-round NFL draft pick on the stop. Doesn't look like much of a decision for Tim Rebo. He's keeping his offense on the field.
Yeah, pretty easy call here. I don't know about you, partner, but if I'm Coach Rebo, I'm looking at that connection between McQuaid and Jackson Dufresne, who've made a couple big plays already on this drive alone. And here comes the crowd.
And a timeout taken by Pat McQuaid.
First charge timeout, Nicholls State.
Nicholls threatening 4th and 5 from the LSU 35 when we return in Baton Rouge. That's the look right there for an SEC Saturday night tilt in Baton Rouge. Home opener of the 100th season here at Tiger Stadium in a packed house, as this Baton Rouge faithful welcomes LSU back home after the season opening loss to USC. And now a 4th and 5 for the Nicholls Colonels on the LSU 35. Pressure coming. Catch is made, and the first down is got by Quincy Brown on his first catch of the game.
Well, this is great concentration on the edge by Quincy Brown, and a terrific job really by McQuaid. The pressure's coming right up the gut through that A gap on both sides. Really, the pressure was coming by the Tigers. Is able to just to kind of hang in there and find his top target there on the outside, Quincy Brown.
You asked defensive coordinator Blake Baker who on this Nicholls offense could play at LSU. He said maybe Quincy Brown, the transfer from TCU. Guggenheim in the Wildcat. This is a Nicholls offense that returns 8 starters, plenty of experience playing on the road at FBS environments. 11th play of the drive coming for Pat McQuaid. Flips it out. It is Brown again with blockers in front, and Brown is inside the 15 with a first down.
It's a great job here by McQuaid. He's got a rusher right in his face. Braden Swinson nearly gets a paw on the football, but instead they're able to get it out on that now pass. Sort of a screen on the outside, and then Quincy Brown gets a great block and has the Colonels nearly inside 1st and goal territory here. Can still get a first down inside the 2-yard line.
On more than a 6-minute drive, it's Guggenheim and the Wildcat again. Keeps it. Guggenheim stopped short of the end zone by maybe a yard. Tackle made by P.J. Woodland.
Well, and you hit on it, partner. This has been a long, sustained drive. I like the Wildcat here, staying with Guggenheim, who is such a physical runner. Boy, I know he may not be on the list of guys that when we ask Coach who would play for LSU or who'd play at P4, but I promise you this much: those dudes on LSU's defense don't want to tackle Guggenheim. I mean, they are, but I'm just saying you don't really do it by choice, because he's a big dude who's certainly carries the football with his pads in front.
Back to Guggenheim. Guggenheim reaching, and it's a touchdown for the Colonels.
Good job inside. Really good block by DeAndre Keller, the left guard, to seal that off and allow Guggenheim to run behind. Does a really good job getting the football across the goal line, extends it. Boy, talk about a response. The way the game started with an early miscue on special teams that led to a safety.
Gabe Showalter puts it through, and that caps a 13-play, 84-yard drive for the Nicholls Colonels, who have made it a 2-point game in Baton Rouge. Nicholls is on the board in their first ever meeting with the LSU Tigers on a 13-play, 7-minute, 17-second drive orchestrated by Pat McQuaid and senior running back Colin Guggenheim.
And what's great about that, if you're a Nicholls fan, is that sort of picks up where you left off a season ago. And it's a team that is very heavy with time of possession, ball control. Last year they averaged about 32 minutes a game in terms of time of possession. So for them to be able to come out here on that drive, to go down the field for a touchdown drive and hold the ball away from LSU's offense for 7 minutes is a recipe for them to try and be in the ball game.
And it included a 4th and 5 conversion on the LSU 35. Here is Xavier Thomas again. Last return went for 58 yards. This time stopped shy of the 30 by Ethan Lee.
Nussmeier, to me, and when you look back at that game on Sunday night against Southern California, I thought that he was incredible. There was a couple plays he wishes that he would have certainly had back, but for 2 games as a starter, this being his 3rd ever career start, boy, I think the future is bright here after losing a quarterback that just won the Heisman Trophy and is a 1st-round pick. To be able to bring Nussmeier in and have some experience is huge for Tiger Nation.
Nussmeier zips it out. Kyron Lacey, the leading returning wide receiver on the outside for the Tigers, with the catch. Well, it's not just Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, that they're replacing, but 2 other first-rounders on the outside, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
Well, and that's where Kyron Lacey steps in, because last year he was the 3rd guy, and now all of a sudden he is rising to the top of the food chain here at LSU. And you saw last week against Southern Cal. You see it right there on that play. Partner, we got an interesting first half.
Nothing beats Saturday night in Death Valley, and perhaps a surprising start here in the Bayou, with Nicholls heavy underdogs making it a 2-point game at the end of the first frame.
Coach Rebo, your team falls behind early 9-0, but your offense, Pat McQuaid and company, stayed poised. What did you like about their response?
I like how we responded. We talk about it all the time. We do want to be proactive, though, and not reactive. But, you know, we got in a hole. I thought defense got a good stop, and then a bad snap, and then a big kickoff return. Special teams, we got to be solid a little bit better, and then hopefully we can make a few more plays on offense.
Coach, thank you. Matt?
Thank you very much, Alex. And to Coach's point, special teams is the difference in this game. Had that snap on the punt not gone out of the back of the end zone, this is a 7-7 game, Dustin Fox.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the special teams have become such a big factor early in the game, but you're like, where's the 9 points come from? Well, there was a safety that, opening drive for Nicholls, the punt goes over, or the long snap goes over the punter's head, and here we are, 7-9, 9-7.
Kyron Lacey in motion on first down. Nussmeier all day lets it fly. Oh, and just out of the reach of the fifth-year senior from Thibodaux, Louisiana, Kyron Lacey. And a little bit gimpy after the play.
I was going to say, pretty good coverage on the outside. And again, I am so surprised that Nicholls has not really changed their defensive philosophy at all. They're saying, we're going to line up and play our game. And that's something that Coach Rebo told us this week when we chatted with him, is like, I said, hey, Coach, anything you might do because of the talent they have at receiver, you can maybe double team certain guys or take certain things away. He's like, we're just going to play our game. And that's exactly what they've done so far.
Nussmeier flushed, using his wheels. Nussmeier slides across the 50, and it's a first down for the Tigers.
And Nussmeier shows off some of that athletic ability here. Gets really good pressure from the protection up front. And an easy scramble for a first down out near midfield.
Did not have a rushing attempt in the loss to USC, but showing his athleticism in the midfield. Josh Williams back in the backfield for the Tigers. Nussmeier taking a shot. Oh, and just out of the reach of Mason Taylor, who is diving to make a one-hand grab.
Yeah, that football should have been thrown a little bit behind, and instead he throws it out in front. Mason's got a great wingspan, just not enough to get this one out. Needed probably another step or so.
Dustin, I don't know about you, but I feel like this offensive line, which returns 4 starters from last year, is giving Garrett Nussmeier tons of time in the pocket.
No, they're doing a tremendous job, keeping this defensive front of Nicholls off of their quarterback.
Swing pass to Juwan Johnson, spinning out of one tackle. QB turned cornerback, turned running back. He said, Coach, I don't care what position I play, I just want to be on the field.
Yeah, there's Lacey. That's not a good sign for the LSU offense. He went in the tent, and we'll try to get an update as soon as possible on Kyron Lacey. As 3rd and 2 sort of looms here for the LSU offense.
Already depleted wide receiver position. No Chris Hilton tonight, no Kyle Parker, both dealing with injuries. 3rd and 1. Nussmeier zips it to CJ Daniels, and the Liberty transfer muscles ahead for a gain of 11 and a first down. And now Kyron Lacey is back on the field for LSU.
Positive sign to see him back on the field. We'll kind of monitor his movement here as we go, as he's back in the game.
1st and 10. 3 wide receiver set. Williams in the backfield, and Mason Taylor across the formation. Nussmeier looking, he connects. Kyron Lacey over the top, and it is a touchdown. And Lacey again is shaken up after the acrobatics into the end zone. And a subdued celebration here in Baton Rouge.
Boy, so scary to see Lacey down on the field right now, especially after that tremendous athletic move to get into the end zone. I always get so nervous, Matt, when players leave their feet, especially offensive players trying to make a play. And you got to love the effort, but sometimes you just think to yourself, man, just stay on the ground or get out of bounds. You know what I mean? Live to fight another down. Well, you sure hope he's okay.
Well, he was upended rather dangerously by Malik Woodery. Of course, nothing malicious. It was Kyron Lacey initiating the jump to begin with.
You know,
and while Kyron Lacey is attended to in the end zone, we will step aside. An acrobatic touchdown, but everyone holding their breath here in Baton Rouge, hoping their leading returning wide receiver is okay. Well, during our last commercial break, Kyron Lacey mostly under his own power, flashing a grin to his teammates after a couple of receptions on a 73-yard, 8-play touchdown drive for LSU. And that is very good news. Remember, just a couple of plays before that, he went off to go to the tent, comes back on, goes up over Malik Woodery into the end zone, and was on his backside for quite a while, but up under his own power. And it is now a 16-7 lead for LSU.
You can see on the replay that when Lacey leaves his feet, that's when the defender comes in, Woodery, and you'll see him just kind of get into that lower extremity of Lacey. I don't think he hurt himself coming down. I think it was the actual hit to the inside thigh board area of Lacey as he's trying to come up underneath. And who knows, maybe he hit him in the bad spot down there potentially too. You know what I'm saying?
The beef jerky.
That's right.
As Nick Kyrgios eloquently put it at the U.S. Open. But nonetheless, up and active yet again. And now we will see Nathan Dibert, who, by the way, is kicking off today for LSU because the freshman Aaron Burrell is recovering from a kneecap injury. They kicked him last week indoors, and this week giving him a break, allowing Nathan Dibert to put it through the back of the end zone.
Well, Saturday night SEC football final is back for another season with Dari Nokwa. Chris Doering and Ben Watson. They'll take you through the biggest stories of the day, break it all down. All the SEC games starts at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app.
So, what type of response will Pat McQuaid and this Nicholls offense have? Marquise Albert in the backfield. Their last drive, 7 minutes plus and a touchdown. Alberts with a nice gain on first. Pickup of 5 and the tackle made by Major Burns.
Yeah, Alberts shows a little bit of wiggle there in the backfield. LSU looked like they may have tackled for loss and just sort of squirts through the middle, back off the left side of the center. Nice pickup on first down.
Albert remains in the game. Remember, we have not seen Jalen Spears, the preseason All-American at tailback for Nicholls. Exited the Louisiana Tech game last week early with an ankle injury. And Albert churns ahead for 2, and that brings up 3rd and manageable for the Colonel's offense.
Definitely a 3rd and manageable opportunity here again for the Colonels. Gotta say, pretty vital you try and keep this drive alive, because I don't know how many stops you're going to get on that Tigers offense with all that ability they have.
3rd and 3. It's Colin Guggenheim in the backfield. Over the middle and caught for a first down. Terry Matthews moving the sticks for Nicholls.
This is a nice, easy pitch and catch. I like what Nicholls is doing on the outside. They're taking sort of what the defense gives you. Corners open up that inside window. That's an easy throw by McQuaid, and they keep the sticks moving, and they, most importantly, keep the clock moving.
Now Corey Warren in the backfield alongside Colin Guggenheim. We saw the Wildcat a number of times on their touchdown drive last time out. And a whistle and a flag comes in early from the umpire.
Well, Nicholls is saying that LSU jumped.
Delay game. Defense. Disconcerting signals. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, that has been an emphasis this season, the disconcerting signals. What you got, Alex?
Yeah, Dustin, I've been watching Kyron Lacey down here on the sideline. He's been moving gingerly after he came off the field on his own, walking around with trainers. They brought him into the tent. Since he's come out, his right ankle, they've been working on it. It's actually bleeding around the sock area and also on his right shin.
Well, that's something you definitely want to be cautious of here if you're Brian Kelly and the staff. This is not the game you want to lose your top wide receiver.
Particularly given the other weapons that are already out, right? We've discussed already that they are without Chris Hilton, they're without Kyle Parker, and as Alex detailed in the open, they are also without John Emery for the rest of the year.
Yeah, they are really sort of searching for depth at that running back position.
Brian Kelly has traditionally bounced back well against FCS opponents after losing openers each of his last 2 seasons. But Nicholls giving LSU all they can handle in the first half. Guggenheim with not much of a gain there, and it brings up 3rd and short.
If you notice, Nicholls using almost every single second of that play clock. They realize if they can just shorten this game as much as they can and just keep it close, that's the recipe for trying to stay in a game like this and potentially pull an upset. Heck, we saw, I know it's not FCS, but we saw Northern Illinois knock off Notre Dame today. We saw Bowling Green play with Penn State. A lot of teams that are from a lower conference
15 seconds.
matching up well with Power 4.
And Tim Rebowe has done it before at Nicholls. Remember, they went on the road in 2018, a championship year for Nicholls, and beat Kansas in Lawrence.
Well, this is where I would probably go back if I'm Nicholls to Guggenheim in that Wildcat. That seemed to be working. They're going to take a timeout and think about this. Very important call coming up here.
Nicholls State.
So Nicholls going to have a little bit of time to think about this one. 3rd and 1, none bigger than this so far. I think you've got 2 opportunities here to pick up this yard and keep the drive alive. 16-7 from Baton Rouge.
Going into the first meeting ever between Nicholls and LSU, former Colonel Great Mike Kiefer pledged $10,000 for every Nicholls point scored against LSU. They've already scored 7, so that's $70,000. And on this drive, not only an opportunity to chip away at the deficit, but add to the donation total from the Colonel Great. A lot on the line here tonight for Tim Rebowe's team.
Going for 6 figures on this drive, huh?
Wildcat formation again on 3rd and 1 here in Death Valley. And Warren picks up the first down on the handoff from Colin Guggenheim.
I think everybody thought that Guggenheim was probably going to keep it himself. I like the misdirection. You find a way to get the hands in to another playmaker there.
And they will stay with the Wildcat. This time on the jet sweep, and that is snuffed out immediately by Braden Swinson. Loss of 5.
Boy, Braden Swinson, he wears the number 4. He just comes into your screen out of nowhere like a DB. Look at the speed and ability to just get the receiver McMath on the ground. That is tremendous athleticism by the senior defensive end.
So Pat McQuaid comes back into the ball game. He is 5 for 5 with 53 yards passing. On a screen, finds Terry Matthews outside the numbers, and Matthews very close to the first down marker and stopped just shy by Sage Ryan.
That's a great call. Great call by Nicholls here. You get him on the edge. And because of the block downfield, the stock block down the field by Quincy Brown, and then you get your offensive line in front of you, it's a great job by Matthews.
Stepping up in a big moment after this team lost their top 2 wide receivers a year ago in Nino Lime and David Robinson Jr. 3rd and short. Guggenheim churning ahead, and the spot is very close.
I don't know you can get much closer than this. They're going to give it to him. First down for the Colonels. And chewing the clock.
Are you surprised by what we're seeing here right now in the first half?
I mean, a little bit. I think most fans who don't follow Nicholls would probably be a little bit surprised, like the Tiger fans here. They are just up the road, so maybe folks here do pay a little bit of attention to Nicholls and the job that they've done in FCS. But no, I'm not that surprised that they're kind of hanging around. I think eventually LSU will wear them out. But thus far, a very impressive start by the Colonels.
They have the history not only of beating FBS teams, but keeping it close against SEC opponents. Remember, a few years back, they did it on Kirby Smart's home opener as the head coach at Georgia when they were ranked number 9. It was a 2-point win for the Dogs.
Yeah, that was later, a big time upset. So they've been here before.
They did it again against Texas A&M, making it close. Ultimately, the Aggies pulling away as Robbie Pizzolato is down and being tended to by the Nicholls training staff. We will step aside, and when we return, 2nd and 10, Nicholls driving in LSU territory.
Oh, here's our Week 3 SEC football lineup. It all starts Saturday, 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 Central, with number 9 Missouri hosting Boston College, followed by Arkansas hosting UAB. Cap the night, 14th ranked Tennessee hosting Kent State in Knoxville. That's 7:45 each game. Available on the app.
McQuaid still perfect. It's a first down reception by Terry Matthews on the 11th play of the drive, which has spanned over 6 minutes, and the Colonels keep on coming.
Yeah, they are coming here, and you see Matthews settles in right over the middle, and I'm not sure, partner, has McQuaid missed a pass yet?
He has not. 6 for 6 with 66 yards, and just picked up the 10th first down of the first half for Nicholls. Now inside the 25 in the Wildcat formation again, led by Colin Guggenheim. Guggenheim has been successful. 9-yard gain, stopped just shy of the sticks by Jordan Allen.
Very impressive offensive performance thus far by the Nicholls offense. Really an offense that a week ago they were abysmal.
Anemic.
Yeah, no doubt, against La Tech, and they only ran for 62 yards the entire evening, and they're approaching that here early in the first half.
Dustin, they didn't score their first offensive touchdown in that game until there were 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They are knocking on the door for number 2 in the first half, and flags are down on both sides of the field.
Now this could be a big one if it goes against Nicholls, because it was second in about half a yard.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 players in the backfield.
Tim Rebo didn't like it.
I loved our call this week with Coach Rebo, because he just keeps it real. He is a true dude who's from the South and from the Bayou. You can hear that in his voice.
LSU grad.
Yeah, and certainly a big night for him coming back home.
That is Jordan Allen, who was, remember, dealing with some turf toe that he suffered in the loss to USC last week, being helped up but walking off under his own power. Well, Tim
Play
Rebo
clock
also
to 40
told us,
seconds.
Dustin
Play
Fox,
clock
that,
to 40 seconds, please.
and he didn't credit himself for coming up with this phrase. He can't remember where he found it from, but he said, our opponents are nameless gray faces. Not LSU, not the bright lights of Baton Rouge. We're here to line up 11 on 11 and play football in the first half they have.
That's a great attitude. It's easy to say those things, but the players in reality are human beings, and so they're going to look across and they're going to see that yellow helmet and the gold helmet, and you're going to see all the pageantry around here, and you realize how big the moment is. But you try to get past that, and I think at this point Nicholls has done a great job. They've survived or withstood, if you will, sort of the crowd, the emotions, the pageantry, and now they're sort of settling in here as they're looking for points before the half.
2nd and 6. Guggenheim, double pass into the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown. Lee Negrado for Nicholls. On the pass by Quincy Brown, an 18-yard score, and here come the Colonels.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with Coach Rebo. I kid, by the way. We asked him this week, anything, trickeration-wise you might throw in because it's a big opponent, an opportunity maybe to strike. He's like, no, we're going to run our normal stuff. Well, that wasn't normal right there. That was sweet.
He said, I'm not a trick play type of guy.
He did, but you know what? In a game like this, I think the way that the game has unfolded for them, you go into the bag of tricks because you save those for conference play if you're Nicholls, of course. But you're in a ball game, trying to make it a one-score game. Well, it is a one-score game now. And what a catch. I mean, you look at Negrado there, and he's being held and still is able to come up with the football. A tremendous response. That drive was nearly 8 minutes, 7:59. They got the football with 12:17 on the clock. And how many? That's 2 drives now. Over 6-7 minutes.
Over 7 minutes, over 10 plays. And now, Dustin, how big was that early botch snap on the opening punt from Nicholls that went out of the back of the end zone, giving LSU 2 points and a safety in the first points of the game.
And frankly, they sort of spotted LSU 9 points because the safety happens, then the ensuing kickoff, which was a punt because of the safety, ends up going for 59 yards, and it set up LSU's first touchdown of the game. LSU did put together another drive, which was nice, but here you looked, 13 plays, 75 yards for that touchdown. Very, very impressive, and Coach Rebo I'm guessing couldn't be happier with the way his guys have shown up and played, especially after a disastrous start.
Down 9-0 in the beginning of the first quarter. They have scored on their last 2 offensive possessions. And now Gabe Showalter to kick it off for the Colonels. Xavier Jones will let this fly. Xavier Thomas, I beg your pardon, will let it fly into the end zone. Garrett Nussmeier 9 for 14 this evening, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but the problem for LSU, Matt, has been they haven't been on the field, and so it's tough to get a rhythm offensively if you're Nussmeier, even though his numbers are great, 92 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Need a big drive here for LSU to end the first half and try to go in up a couple of scores.
Toss is blown up in the backfield. Dylan Davis on a loss of 5.
Boy, who's Dylan Davis? Comes out of nowhere there and does a great job in the backfield. That's Caleb Durham, the young freshman running back, getting a little bit of run here in this LSU offense.
This Nicholls defense led the Southland Conference in rushing D a season ago. And they return 9 starters. 2nd and long. Nussmeier all day and cannot connect with Daniels, but a late flag comes in on the coverage by Ethan Lee.
Well, I don't know that I agree with this call. We'll take another look at the replay, but Ethan Lee, excuse me, 35. I thought it was right there, bang, bang play. We'll take another look at it.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
By the way, just full disclosure, I'm a former defensive back, so
no bias here.
I tend to side with my my brethren. Yeah, a little bump early there. I guess I could see that. The official's right there.
Well, it negates a 2nd and 15. And now a new fresh set of downs from their own 35. 3:30 to go in the first half. LSU with all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout looming. Nussmeier's going to keep it and will slide down as this Nicholls defensive front was right in his grill.
Yeah, Quentin Sharkey does a nice job staying with his wide receiver as he goes to the flat. It's sort of a two-way go RPO option, and Nussmeier had nowhere to go with the football. Smartly decides to slide and live to fight for a 2nd and 9.
Kyron Lacey re-enters the game at the top of your screen. Caden Durham in the backfield. Lacey had the last touchdown for the Tigers. Nussmeier airing it out and connects with C.J. Daniels. Still on his feet and dives inside the 30. Dragged down just barely by Ethan Lee, and a pickup of 34 for the Tigers.
It's just a difficult coverage by Nicholls. You're going to put your corners in man across the board, and it's just a really difficult spot to be in. They run almost like a scissors route across the field, like a double post. And you saw Smith there, number 5, get lost in the wash.
Lawrence Sullivan was coming in showing blitz, currently covering Kyron Lacey.
He keeps showing. I'm guessing he's coming. Maybe not.
He stays out there. Nussmeier, another deep shot, connects with Aaron Anderson for a first down and inside the 5. Back-to-back gains of 26 or more for Garrett Nussmeier and the LSU offense.
2-minute timeout.
A good time for the 2-minute timeout here as LSU looks to respond right before halftime. Just about 2 minutes to go. LSU 16-14 knocking on the door.
This LSU offense only had 2 passing plays beyond 20 yards in their loss to USC last weekend. Already on this drive, they have 2, and it sets up 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Trying to punch it in and extend their lead, currently up 16-14 with less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. Nussmeier to Juwan Johnson. Into the end zone for a touchdown. His first in an LSU uniform.
I think Tiger faithful are excited about the sign of Juwan Johnson finding the end zone. A young man who was in the end zone a lot in high school. Probably one of the greatest offensive playmakers in the history of Louisiana high school football. His numbers were off the charts. I don't know why he was playing defense. I mean, I do know why. I get it. They were stacked at running back, but you just get the sense that at some point Coach Kelly was going to get him back here to the offensive side of the football. You see him just out leverage there at the defense. That's Eli Ennis, 44. No chance. No, just not enough speed from a linebacker trying to catch one of the faster guys on the field.
Well, to your point, Juwan Johnson was recruited as a defensive back despite throwing for over 14,500 yards, a Louisiana high school career record. He also reached the end zone 171 times.
Come on, man.
And part of the key to getting him here to LSU was Brian Kelly vowing to him that they would find a place for him on the field as a true freshman. I think they found their man at running back.
Yeah, only played a few games last year. And now I think they understand how talented this young man is and are going to try to get the football in his hands a little bit more as they go throughout his career. And you never want to see somebody get hurt, but possibly maybe a blessing in disguise for their offense to make the move and get him over there. Matt, what's coming up at halftime?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Dustin Fox. We've got Alex with LSU basketball star Flau'jae Johnson. A look around college football, which had plenty of surprises, including NIU taking down Notre Dame after they went to Aggie Land and beat Texas A&M last week, plus first half highlights and stats. If you are Nicholls, what are you doing with these next near 2 minutes to close out the first half?
Well, I think you see what happens on first down. If you can get some positive yards, you may continue the drive and try to be aggressive.
Marquise Albert with a gain of 4. Tackle made by Paris Shand.
You just don't want to go to halftime giving the ball back to LSU and allowing them another score. I mean, you feel good about where you're at, 23-14. Boy, I don't think anybody in Vegas thought Nicholls was going to score 14 points, and they have. So I think you should be happy if you're Coach Rebo and his staff. They still may try to be aggressive and go for a field goal or something here at the end of the second quarter. However, I think they're very content being in the position they are.
Albert on the counter, and there's a flag down behind the play as Albert rushes out across the 50. And I believe this is coming all the way back for the Colonels, who also have an offensive lineman down near the line of scrimmage.
That's Reed Lambert, the right tackle.
Holding, offense, number 43, 10-yard penalty.
And that's sort of the difficult thing that you have to deal with here if you're Nicholls. You know, we played almost a half of football, and these offensive linemen are out there, you know, busting their tails against the defensive line that is as good as anybody in the entire country, and they rotate 8, 9, 10 guys through. The offensive line, they're out here in Death Valley at night, you know, like I said, busting their tail against a lot of fresh defensive linemen. Those penalties are going to happen, and probably going to happen more.
That negates a 25-yard gain by Marquise Albert, who has gotten a lot more run tonight due to the absence of Jalen Spears. And it's good to see Reed Lambert walk off the field, though gingerly, starting right tackle from New Roads, Louisiana. And there is Kyron Lacey, who's dealt with some injury scares of his own tonight. He went to the 10th, and 3 plays later dove into the end zone and laid on his backside for a couple of minutes, staying loose on the bike.
They would like to get in a position where they don't have to bring him back in the game. And you also wonder too, as LSU goes into halftime here in about a minute, how do you feel about Lacey's second half prognosis? Do you feel like it's something that you want to bring him back? Point is, 20 minutes at halftime, he could get cold. Do you want to bring him back out in this game, or you want to try to hold him off for next week against the Gamecocks?
2nd and 17.
First charge timeout.
LSU looking to conserve some time and try and, as I just said,
please reset
maybe
the
get
game
another
clock
touchdown here
to
potentially
1 minute,
before halftime.
10 seconds.
You know, take a look back at Nicholls' last drive that extended 75 yards and almost 8 minutes, converting third down after third down. And you know, McQuaid, who has been darn near perfect in the game. You've got Guggenheim running a little bit of wildcat. Double pass here on the edge from Quincy Brown. Finds his target there. Nick Rotto for the touchdown. Excellent hands. And yeah, we know LSU comes back and scores and responds. But still, very impressive. You had, you know, 14-16 from a Nicholls perspective, down a couple of points, and now just trying to get to halftime here and keeping it close.
It's second down. They called the timeout before that last run by Colin Guggenheim.
They say
well, you're right. Now they're saying third down
yeah.
on the field. It is third down and 14. The timeout was after the run. Guggenheim again. And out across the 25. The tackle made by the freshman Deshaun Spears.
Second charge timeout.
And LSU will take another timeout.
30
Opportunity
seconds
for the Tigers to put together a quick drive before the half. Remember their last drive, 5 plays, 70+ yards and a touchdown.
Well, that's why Nicholls would like to stay on the field as much as they can, because it's not going to take LSU long, right, to get down the field. They've got so many playmakers, and you saw what I believe LSU should do more of is just take the shots down the field. I just don't think Nicholls can hold up much longer in the back end, especially with the coverage that they're playing. They're playing so much man, and I get it because that's their philosophy, but when you're outmanned, you not want to play so much of that coverage.
Last time, Kylan Dupree was out there to punt. He had to kick the ball out of the back of the end zone. This time the snap is good, and he just got the punt off. Xavier Thomas will field it on the hop and lunges across the 45.
Well, Grant Nussmeier tonight, coming off a strong performance a week ago against Southern California. Over 300 yards. Here he is tonight. Already a couple of touchdown passes, showing some poise. The offensive line's done a tremendous job keeping him upright, allowing him plays like that to take off and run. There's Kyron Lacey. This is dangerous. Don't jump. Well, he survived it. He did walk off on his own power. And then you see the young freshman, Juwan Johnson, who just moved over from defensive back. And I don't think he's moving back to defensive back.
Well, not if the new offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan, has anything to say about it. Nussmeier on first down. And he hits Mason Taylor out near the 50. 52 seconds to go. 1 timeout for LSU. Garrett Nussmeier tonight 13 for 18 with 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has been uber efficient as this LSU team has scored a touchdown in each of their last 3 possessions. Nussmeier with great patience hits Xavier Thomas for a first down.
Well, LSU with just 1 timeout here. Nussmeier looking to the side.
And I beg your
also
pardon.
listening through the helmet now.
Short of the first down. 3rd and short. 30 seconds as the clock continues to turn.
Surprised they didn't use the timeout.
And a flag comes in. Lawrence Sullivan was all over the intended receiver, Xavier Thomas. And Joe Mason also hit Garrett Nussmeier in the backfield.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. Automatic first down.
So they will get Lawrence Sullivan with a pass interference, but you can see Nussmeier uncomfortable after that hit by Joe Mason.
And Mason goes a little bit high, but in the back end, you're going to see a lot of contact. Oh, that's not good.
Nussmeier's coming out of the game.
Oh, goodness.
And so now it looks like we're going to see the redshirt freshman from Baton Rouge,
3rd and final timeout.
Ricky Collins.
LSU. 30 seconds.
You hope that's just cramping from Nussmeier.
We were told that
Yeah.
A.J. Swan would likely not play tonight, though he did just run out to start warming up.
Well, plans can change. That's one thing we know for sure. And if Nussmeier can't get back in this game, you may look to A.J. Swan. And you may say to yourself, well, why wouldn't you put A.J. Swan in the game? Well, the reason being is he's a freshman, or excuse me, a junior rather, but you'd like to maintain his redshirt because he has a redshirt year available. And you could play 4 games. They would probably prefer not to burn it this early in the season. You know, you never know what's going to happen down the line if you get into conference play and need to have your true number 2 quarterback go into the game. Obviously, Ricky Collins is most likely going to get the snap here.
Redshirt freshman from Woodlawn High School, was coached by LSU great Marcus Randall and was a top 10 recruit out of Louisiana in 2023.
Just
Swan will stay on the sideline. It's Ricky Collins.
Just a tough kid too, and that's what they love about Ricky Collins is they put him in the game. They feel like he can run the offense, the entire playbook, and then on top of it, he's just a tough football player. So fights to get first downs if he has to scramble, and like I said, knows the offense.
He does have 2 completions in his collegiate career. Make it 3 as he hits Xavier Thomas for a first down.
Now here's what you got to do if you're LSU. You got to make sure that you get out of bounds. If you do want to work the middle of the field, you've got to work beyond the first down. With 18 seconds, there's still plenty of time to use the middle of the field, assuming you can get a first down and get up there and spike the football and give yourself a chance to fire at the end zone or have a field goal attempt before half.
3rd and final timeout.
Last timeout for Nicholls.
Nicholls State. 30 seconds.
Is your playbook wide open if you're Joe Sloan and LSU? 18 seconds, no timeouts, but given where you are in Nicholls territory.
I guess it might be different, and I'm not slighting Nicholls at all. Even it may sound like it, but in this situation, why not just try to go for the touchdown? You know, if this is, again, I feel like I'm slighting Nicholls by saying this, but I mean, this is Alabama out here. It may be a little bit different philosophy.
Garrett Nussmeier
Especially with
being worked on.
Especially with your backup quarterback, excuse me.
Well, no doubt. And this is an LSU team, too, Dustin, that has scored on 3 consecutive offensive possessions. Ricky Collins manning the offense for Garrett Nussmeier, who continues to be worked on the LSU sideline. Will take off. And Collins is dragged down by Hayden Shaheen. Remember, no timeouts. How quickly can LSU go here?
No, they say he got out of bounds. The officials wait.
Interesting.
I don't know that he did, but the officials give them a very favorable call, and the clock stops and allows them to get up to the line here and have the field goal attempt.
Damian Ramos, first field goal attempt of the night. And a whistle comes in first. Nicholls is not going to like that because it seems like they got a paw on it. And here's our referee, Jeff Heiser.
The previous play is under further review.
To your point, did Ricky Collins get out of bounds?
I don't think he did.
Brian Kelly not pleased. Hayden Shaheen here making a great effort. Look at the knee right there. Clearly, Dustin, by my eye, down, and the football still in bounds.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that, you know, he goes down. Was it about 13 seconds, 12 seconds? I don't know that LSU would have been able to run the field goal team in as quickly as they did.
Well, Rick Lumiere, our replay official here in Baton Rouge this evening, taking a close look at this. Whistle came in just before the attempted field goal was apparently blocked by Nicholls. And the Nicholls defense is coming back out onto the field. And so is the LSU offense. They both believe
I'm always in
there's going to be another play here.
Well, what's going to happen here is I'm always a little confused. I think a lot of people are about when you overturn a call like this. When the clock was running, it's reviewed, overturned. LSU is going to have to spike the football, assuming they're going to. Well, there is potentially a 10-second runoff here. I'm just not sure the officials, you know, what the situation is between the officials and Brian Kelly. Yeah.
Well, Brian Kelly and his team scrambling onto the field. They're going to bring Ramos back out there for a 39-yard attempt.
At the 22-yard line. The game clock at that point in time was 13 seconds. By rule, a 10-second runoff applies. Please reset the game clock to 3 seconds, and I will start the clock on my signal.
So there will be just a handful of seconds left with the 10-second runoff. They ruled the runner down with 13. They will have to work quickly here.
They got a break too, I think, because I don't know they could have got up to the line of scrimmage this quickly. This allowed them to get the field goal unit on the field.
And Ramos this time puts it through. No, he does not. It is wide, and Tim Rebo's team walks off the field at the half, down 23-14, a win for Nicholls.
Well, I guess ball don't lie, right? I mean, that is a situation where I think LSU caught a break to get back their field goal unit on the field with the runoff and still be able to get it off. But nonetheless, the kick goes wide right. I think a good job by Nicholls' field goal block team there. They put pressure on the attempt. Got to say, that's a win for Nicholls.
Rare miss by Damian Ramos, who just pushed it right, barely missing the goalpost.
Also, now the big question is what happens here in the second half. The last minute was wild. Nussmeier goes down, has to leave the game. We'll find out.
Down to Alex Chappell with Brian Kelly.
Coach Kelly, it's been a battle here in the first half. Nicholls has had some long scoring drives.
Yep.
They're playing tough. What has stood out to you about what Pat McQuaid and company have put together?
They're doing a great job controlling the football. I think they had a 15-play drive, and we simply got to get off the field. You know, we've done a pretty good job offensively. I would like to execute there better, you know, kick the field goal. We did a really good job defensively getting the stop and putting ourselves back in a position, but we got to kick the field goal there. Our guys got confused in terms of the clock, but that's just a matter of kicking the football.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Alex, and thank you to Brian Kelly for the time. LSU in their home opener, getting all they can handle from FCS in-state foe Nicholls, 23-14 at the half in Death Valley. An eventful first half in LSU's home opener. It started with a safety for the second straight weekend on a botched snap on a punt attempt. And that was followed up by the first touchdown drive led by Garrett Nussmeier. He had 3 in the first half. It tied a career high. But back came the Colonels on a rushing touchdown by Colin Guggenheim. Then the leading returning wide receiver, Kyron Lacey, goes up over the top of Malik Woodery. He was banged up but would return. Then some trickery from Tim Rebo's team. Bang, a touchdown caught by Lee Negrado. And this was Jawan Johnson, the freshman, making his first touchdown catch in an LSU uniform. Quite eventful. Matt Schumacher, Dustin Fox, Alex Chappell with you, and it is 23-14 in favor of the 18th ranked LSU Tigers, but it is the Nicholls offense which has yet to throw an incompletion, Dustin, who starts the second half.
It's pretty remarkable that Nicholls has been able to do what they've done offensively. I mean, they've been very efficient on third downs. The time of possession is the thing to keep an eye on. You know, last year they held the ball per game almost 33 minutes a game. So that is sort of what they like to do. They want to play stifling defense. They want to be able to run the football. Last week, only had 62 yards on the ground the entire game. They didn't score a touchdown until late in the ball game against La Tech. Here they are, 14 points in the first half and almost 60 yards already just in the first half.
A flag way down the field at the 45-yard line. And we will wait to hear.
Substitution. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
From Jeff Heiser, our lead referee. And now 1st and 5 for Nicholls. To your point, they have moved the ball better tonight against a top 25 LSU team than they did last weekend against Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, pretty impressive to come into Death Valley at night, not be unflapped, I should say, offensively, and here you go.
McQuaid pulls it and outruns Greg Penn III to the sideline, and that brings up 2nd and short for the Colonels. They have beaten FBS programs in the past. Most recently, Kansas in 2018 in Lawrence. And now Colin Guggenheim, who we saw run the Wildcat very efficiently in the first half, will do so here on 2nd and 2.
Yeah, this has been the down and distance where Guggenheim's been able to come in the game and convert, whether it be on 2nd down, 3rd down, heck, even 4th down tonight as well.
Uh-oh, there goes Guggenheim. Nothing but green in front of him. Being tracked down. Guggenheim inside the 5 and a touchdown for the Colonels. 67 yards on a Saturday night in Death Valley. A shocker to start the second half.
2nd and 2 to go 67 yards to the house. And he's just doing everything he can to fight to the end zone as he's nearly tracked down from behind. And that kick nearly blocked. But boy, partner, what is going on?
You tell me.
I'm in absolute shock right now. And I think this entire building is, because you're down at halftime. Of course, Nicholls and LSU, you're up, and you're thinking, man, we'll get a quick 3 and out, get back on offense, and go make this a blowout like everyone expects. Nicholls has other plans, and Guggenheim, just a tough cat, man. Playing that running back position, is able to step in the Wildcat role.
And for more, here is Alex Chappell.
Well, Matt and Dustin, when it comes to Colin Guggenheim, Coach Rebo saying we like how we are positioned at the running backs. He said by now everyone knows who our guys at the top of the depth chart are, but we've got a lot of younger guys and just experience at that position. He said we might get bumps and bruisers, but we really like our starters and what they bring to this offense.
It's so crazy, too. You see the young man come off the field. I mean, this guy's like a local hero in Kenner, Louisiana. And just add to it. I mean, this guy, for the rest of his life, is going to be able to look back at that play in this game and feel really good about his career.
First ever meeting between these two teams. Xavier Thomas out across the 25. For Guggenheim, it's his 10th career 100-yard game. Now in the top 3 all-time in program history in rushing. And he has made this a 2-point game. Don't tell Nicholls they're outmatched here in Baton Rouge tonight.
And what a day for Guggenheim. His pops played football at Iowa State. They get the win over Iowa in the Cy-Hawk game. And now his son having a monster ball game here against the in-state, I guess you'd call him a rival. They've only played once, but just about 70 miles away.
Nussmeier to Aaron Anderson, and good to see Nussmeier back on the field. Remember, last drive of the first half, less than 60 seconds to go, Nussmeier was helped off the field, and it was Ricky Collins, the redshirt freshman backup, who finished at quarterback. That drive ended in a missed field goal, and now Nussmeier back in, who has led 3 touchdown drives already in the game. And a first down for Josh Williams. Alex Chappell.
Yeah, so talking with LSU sideline, they were telling me that Garrett Nussmeier took a tough shot, brought him out at the end of the first half, but he was able to shake it off, stayed warm during halftime, and was ready to come right out and start things up again here in the second half.
Alex, did they say what it was? Lower body? It seemed like he took a shot as he was going out of bounds.
They did not clarify the lower, sorry, Dustin, my mic wasn't on there. They did not clarify if it was the lower body.
There is Mason Taylor with a big gain and pushed out of bounds by Ethan Lee. Well, that's great reporting, Alex, because again, this is a program that can ill afford any more injuries. John Emery out for the year with an ACL. 2 wide receivers, and Chris Hilton, Kyle Parker out tonight with injuries.
Well, I think a couple of things have to happen here if you're LSU. Number one, you have to realize you're in a bit of a dogfight right now in a game that you thought, hey, maybe we would be able to just kind of put our athletes on the field and walk away with the victory. Well, the Colonels have other plans. And so now all of a sudden LSU's got to change their philosophy and mindset.
Eli Ennis making the tackle on the flip to Aaron Anderson. You wanted to see LSU get their athletes in space. We're seeing that to start the second half.
Yeah, just spread the football out. You got so many guys on the outside. You've got Kyron Lacey, who, again, a little bit nicked up from an earlier play in the game. But both these quarterbacks have been so efficient.
Nussmeier all day to survey. Lets it go, looking for Daniels, and almost intercepted by Ethan Lee.
Hey, we got to give some credit, though, to the defense of Nicholls, because this play was supposed to be a double move to the top of the screen to Kyron Lacey. He is covered extremely well by Sullivan. Excuse me, Woodery on the opposite side. Sullivan's in coverage there. But again, it's a great job by the back end of Nicholls, continuing to play a lot of man-to-man press coverage.
3rd and 1. And a first down run by the 6th-year senior Josh Williams, who will be leaned on heavily this year without John Emery, the lone active Tiger on the roster left from that 2019 national championship team. Yeah, the disparity on the ground, mind-boggling after that 67-yard touchdown run by Colin Guggenheim. And that goes in and out of the hands of Kyron Lacey.
Yeah, that should have been caught. That's an easy, probably an easy first down grab. The coverage is there by Smith, but that ball's got to be caught.
This is an LSU team coming off another opening game loss, the 5th in a row. And this time against USC last weekend, a heartbreaking loss on the final drive of the game for the Trojans. Trying to bounce back in Baton Rouge.
I like the idea of LSU trying to get the ball on the perimeter to one of their playmakers. The problem is, Nicholls is doing a good job keeping everything inside. They don't have the speed to be able to run on the perimeter. They can't allow LSU to get the edge. And even right there, I know they pick up 8 yards and make it a 3rd and 2. But it could have been a touchdown had he been able to get around the corner down the sideline.
First catch of the day by Javen Nicholls. 3rd and 2. And here comes a whistle.
Nussmeier's happy.
Delay of game. Defense. Disconcerting signal for clapping. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Matt, I've seen this today. Watch a lot of college football. We have a night game, so you get to see a lot of the early window games. I've seen that call about a half dozen times today. And it's one of those things where the officials are keeping a close eye on the defenders, clapping, whether it be them shifting at the last moment, anything that could potentially draw the offense off sides, they're calling it.
Nussmeier short on the throw to Shelton Sampson Jr. Well, this has been a point of emphasis this year, Dustin Fox.
Take a look. Let's see where it is. It had to be verbally, because there's nothing there that you saw. You didn't see a hand clap. You didn't see any motion or shifts by the defensive line. The officials right there clearly could hear something, and yeah, they're going to make that call every single time. Tough to prove on television. We're not down there, but you assume that's the right call.
Williams still on his feet. Williams with a first down. 12-yard gain, and now 1st and goal for the Tigers.
Running to the boundary And a great block there on the edge. Miles Frazier, who's kind of moving around on that offensive line, kicks out. The defensive end allows Williams to cut up inside.
Their lead returning rusher from a year ago, with 3 running backs hitting the portal in the offseason. Nussmeier under pressure, and a touchdown, the second of the day for Kyron Lacy.
Nussmeier just does a good job finding Lacy, kind of a pivot route where he comes inside. The 2 defenders are looking at the quarterback, Nussmeier. They become spectators on this as they watch Kyron Lacy just walk into the end zone. And that's what you want to do for LSU here in this particular ball game. You've got better athletes on the outside. Try to get the ball in their hands and let them make plays. And how about Nussmeier? 4 touchdown passes on the day, a career high for him. You go back to that ReliaQuest game where he threw 3 touchdowns. How about throwing 4 tonight? Have yourself a day. It's like Al Bundy at Polk High. 4 touchdowns for Nussmeier.
We saw this in the first half. Garrett Nussmeier came out of the game limping. He was limping off the field after the last touchdown drive, the 4th he has led today, and this was after talking with the head coach, Brian Kelly.
A very serious Brian Kelly having a conversation with his starting quarterback, Nussmeier. You wonder what exactly he's saying to him, because I think Nussmeier's had himself a heck of a game. Maybe he's saying, hey, let's be cautious when you scramble. We need you for the season. Well, Read and React with Cole Kublik and Roman Harper is back for another season. Each week they'll take a look back at the biggest plays, players, and games from the weekend. The season premiere is Monday night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Back to the offense for the Nicholls Colonels. They have scored in 3 of their last 4 possessions, and still, Dustin, 0 incompletions. Last touchdown was a 67-yard rush by Colin Guggenheim. That was more than the entire rushing yards for the game last week against Louisiana Tech.
Well, McQuaid's doing exactly what Coach Rebo is asking him to do. Keep him in the ball game. You don't have to win the game. Throws like that. Hold on to the ball.
Ball is loose and scooped up by LSU. Now, was it a complete pass to Quincy Brown?
That is the question. To me, in real time, it looked like he was. Or it was a completed catch and a fumble recovered by LSU.
Fumble recovered by the defense. First down, LSU.
That's a catch all day and a great strip. It's like the old Peanut Tillman strip by P.J. Woodland here, number 11, the young freshman corner who's going to get a lot more run as the season goes on. You know, Woodland played last week sparingly, got about 8 or 9 snaps against USC. They were very happy with him, but want to see him get more involved defensively. High praise, by the way, for just a freshman.
Well, and he comes up with the first turnover of the game for either team, and now LSU with a chance to extend their lead to double digits, and Garrett Nussmeier is back on the field. Caleb Jackson is running back. Nussmeier locating Kyron Lacy. Already with 2 touchdowns tonight. And a 12-yard gain for a first down.
Now it's LSU kind of using a little bit more clock. It's been interesting. Nicholls they've used so much clock throughout this game on just very few possessions.
End zone shot. And too long for Lacy. Well, that's what you pointed out when we came back from the half. Nicholls with 18 minutes of possession in the first half. That was 7 minutes more than LSU, and that's part of why the score was what it was. Nicholls was playing keep away from this explosive Tigers offense.
Yeah, and they've done just a great job. They've as you say, they played keep away, and now they're in a position because of the defensive turnover now with a short field and to try and put this thing a little bit further out of reach for Nicholls and the Colonels.
Well, that's a great move on the edge. Xavier Thomas with a first down and more. 17-yard gain.
No, and that's what you want to see more of Thomas. And again, another player kind of gippy after making a big play. But Xavier Thomas is such an electric, elusive wide receiver, and he's great in the return game. If he can somehow find a way to continue that explosiveness to the offensive side of the ball, it's just going to be huge. Huge for this offense.
Toss to Durham.
You got to give Coach Rebo and his staff at Nicholls a lot of credit. They fly around the football defensively. You know, there is no quit in this group.
One of the best defenses in the FCS a season ago. Top 10 in takeaways, led their conference in rushing D, and returned 8 starters on that side of the ball this year. 2nd and 6 for the Tigers.
And you got Lacey in the slot right here. And they're looking for him on the 7.
And they got him. Touchdown number 3 for Kyron Lacey, and it stands.
Just such a tough spot to be in as a defender. I mean, you're playing basically zero coverage, which means you don't have a lot of help. And the defensive back right there, that's Keontae Williams, 26. He's trying to play outside in. He just gets caught staring in the backfield at the quarterback. And by the time you get your head turned around on Lacey, he's already out of his break and the ball's in the air. That's just like 7-on-7 in practice. Easy pitch and catch for the Tigers. And now you can breathe a little bit, Tiger Nation.
It is a career high 3 touchdowns for Lacey and a career high 5 touchdowns for Garrett Nussmeier.
Defense, number 56. That 15-yard penalty reinforcing a succeeding kickoff. Try.
Let's see what happens after this play.
Well, they got Rasheed Lovelace for a penalty off the ball. It'll be assessed on the kickoff. And here is Damian Ramos. And a bit more of a cushion for the Tigers, now leading it by 16 with 6:43 to go in the third. And Garrett Nussmeier and his offense clicking in Baton Rouge.
We had some guys played their butts off tonight, and we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach.
That went viral this week, Matt. Brian Kelly after the game on Sunday, very frustrated. I feel his pain. I mean, they've had so many struggles with openers, certainly the last couple of years here with Coach Kelly. Prior to that, they still struggle with openers, and he's frustrated by it. And clearly you could see the emotion there. I know a lot of people, you know, were critical of that press conference. I loved it.
Well, and now his team does have an opportunity, up 2 scores late in the third, to put their opponent away. What type of killer instinct, in the words of Brian Kelly, will we see from his Tigers?
Oh, I'm imagining they're going to take care of business here in the second half. I think that there was a bit of a wake-up call there at halftime. And you've seen this before. I mean, sometimes teams find a way to hang around and, you know, they're there in the fourth quarter. That typically happens, Matt, because of essentially unforced errors, right? I mean, you turn the ball over, you throw a pick six, something like that. It allows a team like a Nicholls or an FCS opponent to sort of stay in the game. Now up 16 points, I think you're probably feeling pretty good about being able to close this game out.
Well, you referenced it when we were during our last commercial break. Anymore in this day and age of college football where there's transfers and so much transience on rosters, you never know how good a team is week 1, week 2, week 3. It takes a month or so to really figure out who the top tier teams are and how good you really are as one of those top tier teams.
Yeah, it's so wild just sitting around watching a lot of the games today, and you're seeing a lot of upsets. As here's Guggenheim again on 2nd and 7. Bottled up. But to your point, Matt, I really think it's going to take about a month for people like us, teams, coaches, the committees, right, that are going to be watching these games and determining who's good, right? I mean, we don't know at this point who's any good. I think you know that the brands are good, but I don't know, man. These rosters, the turnover just makes it really difficult for teams to gel and to mesh this early in the season. And I think that's sort of why you're seeing some of these upsets here this week and certainly last week as well.
3rd and 7. Check down, and Guggenheim unable to corral. By the way, if you're an LSU fan, good to see Jordan Gilbert, number 2 in white, out on the field. He had to miss the first half after that targeting call at the end of the game against USC, which was pivotal in the field position for the Trojans, ultimately punching in the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, it was a crucial call, right call, I believe, in that moment. But boy, that was a game that, you know, certainly those last couple of plays you felt like you had a chance. And then of course SC scores with about 8 seconds on the clock and not enough time.
Xavier Thomas is hit
after he waved
for a fair catch, and now a late flag comes in. An unforced error and a mental error at that for this Nicholls special teams unit.
After the play, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down. Timeout.
15-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of that fair catch. LSU ball when we return.
Welcome back. We are late in the 3rd quarter. LSU leading Nicholls 37-21, and it's 100 years of celebration here at Tiger Stadium. While they kept the tradition very special, they also made some new enhancements to make Tiger Stadium even better for the game day experience, spending close to $19.8 million, a new scoreboard, new corner boards, new ribbon boards, and we cannot wait to see the light show coming up here after the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, Alex, it's part of quite an investment they have made, including a new recovery center to the tune of $20 million as well. Just a stone's throw away from Tiger Stadium as that catch is made by Aaron Anderson.
Just to piggyback what Alex said down there, I think you and I up here, partner, are looking forward to this light show as much as anybody. This new sound system in here is absolutely insane. We were just walking to the bookstore yesterday, and as we're walking in, they start, you know, they're playing the music in the stadium. Scared me to death.
Well, Joe Sloan, the new offensive coordinator, said it's too loud for his liking. Shakes the stadium.
Caden Durham, boy, this guy has some speed. But back to Tiger Stadium, the 100th season. Matt Schumacher.
And they had over 102,000 on hand tonight, the home opener. Death Valley at night has been very difficult for opposing teams, particularly in recent years. One of the great venues and atmospheres in all of college sports. 2nd and 8 for the Tigers. And Durham is stacked up. Eli Ennis was there, so was Hayden Shaheen. To your point about Durham, he is a young man with track speed.
10.2 800-meter speed, which is absolutely insane. That's world-class speed.
Indeed.
And you're a guy who ran track in college. I ran track in high school and thought about running in college at Ohio State, but I didn't run that fast. You know, I was a 10.8 guy, and I thought that was sort of moving for me. But 10.2.8, he'd have beaten me like by 10 meters.
At 205 pounds,
That's what I'm saying.
no less.
I was running 10.8 at 175 pounds soaking wet.
Well, Alex mentioned all the facility upgrades here at Tiger Stadium. Just a walk away is the new recovery center in the football ops building. And it opened this year. It includes high-tech wellness technology, including hydrotherapy, sleep pods, massage chairs. That sounds lovely after a game. And a cryotherapy chamber.
Float tanks.
They got it all.
Have you been in a
Dustin
float
Fox.
tank? I'm sure you have.
I've not. I've
You
not.
wear the
I'd like
infrared
to.
glasses to bed. You're telling me you haven't gotten a float tank? What are we doing here, Matt?
I got to step my game up.
I thought you like had one in your home.
I would like that. 3rd and 6. Garrett Nussmeier still operating the controls. Career high 5 touchdowns tonight in his 3rd career start. And Mason Taylor after the catch. Upended inside the 15. And he quickly gets up after the tackle was made by Lawrence Sullivan.
Oh, maybe something in the water here in Baton Rouge tonight. Everyone just deciding to leave their feet. I think everybody's like, what are we doing?
And I beg your pardon, that was Malik Woodery again, who upended Kyron Lacey in the first half.
Guys, stay on your feet. Especially guys like Mason and Kyron Lacey, who have both jumped trying to extend plays.
Nussmeier underneath. Daniels shaking loose. And Daniels dragged down at the 5.
Things starting to turn. You can feel it towards LSU. And man, I think if they get this score, it's going to be a situation LSU's going to be happy with. Heading into the 4th quarter, we can enjoy that light show, and they can feel like they can rest a little bit easier going into the 4th quarter.
The speed, the power, the size of the Tigers starting to wear on Nicholls. Durham stacked up by Hayden Shaheen with a full head of steam pushing back the pile. Shaheen, a high school teammate of LSU Tiger Shelton Sampson from right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, played at Catholic. One of many connections between players on these two rosters. 93 players on the Nicholls roster from the state of Louisiana, and a timeout on the field.
First charge timeout. LSU, 30 seconds.
Well, around college football, week 2, no shortage of fireworks, particularly in the top 10. Texas, first year in the SEC, they go to Michigan, and I think shocked some people. Dustin, winning 31-12. They controlled that game. And then tonight, Northern Illinois out of the MAC, upsetting a top 5 Notre Dame team in South Bend.
Really impressive job by Thomas Hammock and his Huskies to go into South Bend and to not only hang around, but to find a way to drive late in the game after, you know, it seemed like they may lose the game, a tight ball game, which is, you know, great for NIU, but, you know, no moral victories. They find a way to get the job done. That's the highest ranked opponent that a MAC team has ever beaten in like the last 50 years. History tonight.
3rd and 1. Shuffle pass. Xavier Thomas, house call. Touchdown, Tigers. And that will go down as the 6th touchdown pass of the night for Garrett Nussmeier.
He's racking himself up a day. I don't know that he'll ever be able to top this one. 6 touchdown passes? Come on. And that one, I love how they were able to get Thomas on the edge. Felt like a punt return.
Well, they love the ball in his hands. The Mississippi State transfer showing why on this touchdown.
Again, just a shovel pass. You get a lead block, a really good block by Josh Williams, number 18. And then you see Thomas just kind of bounce outside off that block by Josh Williams. Not catching him.
And now things opening up a bit in the second half rather. Garrett Nussmeier 10 yards shy of 300 in 3 consecutive starts. His first 3 starts in an LSU uniform. Nathan Dybert kicking off in place of Aaron Burrell, getting a rest tonight, recovering from that fractured kneecap. And a fair catch by Marquise Albert. And let's send it down to Alex Chappell.
Matt and Dustin, well, Garrett Nussmeier's teammates are so excited for him this year after all the hard work, the dedication, the time he put in waiting for his opportunity. They can't wait to see the results. Actually, Will Campbell saying, I truly believe that Nussmeier is one of the most explosive players in the country, and he said he can't wait for him to put it on display this year. Matt?
Well, Nick Saban on College Game Day last week called him one of his sleepers at quarterback this year. We're seeing why, Dustin Fox.
Now look at his numbers he had last week against a really good Southern Cal defense. Now these ones will certainly pad the stats when it comes down to the end of the year and how many wins and losses you have. Those numbers will look gaudy as Colin Guggenheim just continues to drag tacklers.
Up over 130 yards rushing tonight on 20 carries for the Louisiana native in his senior year.
He's a guy that, like back when I played ball, coaches would say that dude's a war daddy. And you'd be like, what does that mean? Well, just look at that guy.
You're aging yourself a little bit.
Not really. I mean,
no,
coaches still use it. It's just like that guy just epitomizes exactly what you want from a tough-nosed football player. By the way, he may be an early leader in the clubhouse for the Foxhole.
A little tease for the Foxhole. Flag comes in late, possibly pass interference. Intended receiver was Quincy Brown. J.K. Johnson on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 12. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic, first down.
The motto of Nicholls football under Tim Rebowe, who has been there for a decade, is just keep punching. Regardless of the score, you know one thing about the Colonels. They're going to keep coming until the clock's hit zeros in the fourth quarter.
And by the way, we haven't really referenced this much since the early portion of the game, but 21 points for Nicholls. Someone's writing a fat check, huh?
$10,000 per point was offered as a donation from one of their great football players, now an alum. And some extracurriculars after the play. Harold Perkins was in there for LSU.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 7. Unnecessary roughness, offense, number 66. Those penalties offset. The down counts. Correction there, both UNRs.
So Samaj Scott and Harold Perkins
Second down, here we go.
with offsetting penalties. Mike Kiefer, the former Colonel Great, earlier this week pledged $10,000 for every Nicholls point scored against LSU tonight. This is turning out to be a very profitable evening for the Colonel football
approaching
program.
$250,000.
End of the third quarter. We're going to enjoy the light show. LSU leads it 44-21 on the home opening night of the 100th year in Tiger Stadium.
Man, I was jamming out with little Garth. I love that. What a tradition here at Tiger Stadium.
Never gets old.
The lights are sweet.
Saturday night in Death Valley. Colin Guggenheim again on the carry, that time for 4 yards. And it's 3rd and medium for this Nicholls offense that has yet to score in the second half. I beg your pardon, they have scored once in the second half. Corey Warren in the backfield with Colin Guggenheim. And that'll move the chains. Pat McQuaid has been exceptionally efficient tonight. 8 for 9, 98 yards. But this Nicholls offense has really done a lot of their damage on the ground with Colin Guggenheim. They fake it to him. And a deep shot looking for Quincy Brown is out of his reach.
Oh, big news. College game day headed to Columbia, South Carolina next week for the Tigers and Gamecocks.
That'll be a very interesting matchup.
Saw that come through.
South Carolina, of course, getting the win today against Kentucky in the first SEC game of the year.
A pretty impressive victory on the road by Coach Beamer and his staff.
That is broken up by Zy Alexander, and it's great to see him back on the field. Remember, he started 8 games last year in this LSU secondary, tore his ACL in November, already back on the field in September. Nicholls 4 for 8 on 3rd down. This 3rd and long with 13:43 to go in the game at midfield.
Yeah, 4 of 8, much better than they were last week. Just 3 of 16 on 3rd down.
A screen out to Lee Negrado, and not nearly enough, but you got to think this is go for it territory if you're Tim Rebowe.
I would think so. However, the punt team's coming on.
Thoughts?
Probably the right call.
LSU has had great field position a lot tonight.
I mean, if you're Nicholls and Coach Rebowe, yeah, you'd love to win the game. That's unlikely, even coming into the game. But it's a respectable performance so far. I think, the more I was sitting here looking at the Southland Conference and the season ahead for Nicholls, you're thinking, man, they're going to have a chance to do something. They're a perennial playoff team at the FCS level.
And they are picked to win their league again this year as they did last season. It'll be Garrett Nussmeier in the LSU offense when we return.
Well, here's our Week 3 SEC football lineup. It all starts next Saturday, 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 Central. Number 9, Mizzou and Boston College, followed by Arkansas hosting UAB, and then we cap things off with 14th ranked Tennessee. They'll be higher than that next week. They host Kent State in Knoxville, 7:45. Each game can be seen and heard on the ESPN app. You can watch it anywhere.
Nussmeier throwing on the run, and flags come in late. Catches made by C.J. Daniels.
Maybe a little push off there, potentially, at the top of the route by Daniels. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking at. That's the one thing I saw from that clip. He's working against number 5, Kendarius Smith.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, offense number 1, that penalty accepted. Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense, that's declined. Penalty is half the distance to go, first down.
Well, Garrett Nussmeier has been incredibly impressive tonight, and it makes me think, as you just referenced Tennessee, how great the quarterback talent is in this league. Tennessee's Nico Iamaleava has been sensational over the first 2 weeks of the season.
And Nico, I had a chance to do Tennessee spring game, and I was just super blown away with his ability. He's command of the offense right now. They're putting a whooping on NC State there in Raleigh.
Does that score, 37-3 Tennessee, surprise you?
I guess it does on paper, but I said to you earlier, I don't think we know exactly how good these teams are. You look at the number next to the team, and you're thinking NC State's 24th in the country. Are they really the 24th ranked team in the country? They're losing 37-3 to Tennessee, who's the 14th ranked team in the country. I think it's deceiving this early in the year.
What about the Texas score?
I mean, I think Texas may be the best team in the country.
Wow.
So that doesn't really surprise me. Michigan struggles offensively. They've lost a lot of guys. They lost Harbaugh. I thought Texas would win that game. The score, probably more than I thought it was going to be.
Dominant performance by the 4th ranked Texas Longhorns, led by Quinn Ewers. 2nd and 16 for Garrett Nussmeier. Got it all back nearly on that connection with Mason Taylor. 13 yards and a flag on the far sideline.
Illegal touching. Offense number 86. He was covered. Penalty is half the distance to the goal line. Lost him down. 3rd down.
Couple of penalties on this drive have stalled chunk plays, and that backs up LSU's offense nearly into its own end zone. Ball marked on the 3. Second and 16.
Brian Kelly probably be happy with one of those 8-minute drives here, right? Go 90+ yards.
They've scored quickly in this second half.
The only problem here is it's 3rd in New Orleans.
3rd and 20 now. They go to Jackson, and he is promptly wrapped up. And the punt crew will come out for the first time in this half for LSU.
You know, what's interesting is Nicholls will have the ball most likely in plus territory. I think it's going to take a lot for them to get back in the game, but you never know.
Make it interesting at 44-28 if you can score a touchdown.
If you can get a touchdown and then maybe you kick an onside kick.
They had that 67-yard rushing touchdown by Colin Guggenheim right out of the locker room. Have not scored since. Punt is away by Peyton Todd. And the fair catch made by Terry Matthews. 48-yard punt off the foot of Peyton Todd. Pat McQuaid and the Colonels We'll get it in good field position when we return.
Oh, we go inside my foxhole. I want somebody tough, somebody physical, somebody I can go to war with. And I'll tell you what, right now, Colin Guggenheim's coming in the foxhole because this guy today has been dynamic. 23 for 143 on the ground. Had the long touchdown run where he was just outrunning the entire LSU defense. There it is. 6.2 yards per carry, a couple of touchdowns on the day, was getting in there as a wildcat back, making blocks for his teammates, like just really doing it all. And it looks like he's got the face paint on like he's going to war right now. That's a pretty bad you-know-what look by Guggenheim.
In the wildcat again. Keeper. He is not afraid to lower the shoulder. And as you called him, a war daddy.
He's a war daddy.
For Tim Rebowe.
That's one of the ultimate compliments you can get from anybody, certainly a coach.
Well, Dustin, we haven't had a chance to see it tonight because Jalen Spears inactive with that ankle injury that he suffered against Louisiana Tech. You get Spears and Guggenheim going, that's arguably the best tandem at their level.
I think that's the reason why you don't play Spears tonight. And he was banged up in that second half against the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. There's no need to rush him out here. The idea, and this may sound simple, or the deal is this: you got to get through the game healthy. Okay,
Right.
The depth on an FCS team is just not even close to what it is at a Power 4 or an FBS program. And yeah, you can compete with these guys because your frontline guys are all talented. They're on scholarship too, especially guys like Quincy Brown and Guggenheim and Spears. Those guys are as good as anybody in the country. It's the rest of the depth that you have and you have to worry about, because obviously they're going to go into a really tough matchup next week against Sac State, and that program out there is tremendous.
Quincy Brown.
The Big Sky.
Yeah, Quincy Brown got just enough to move the sticks. One of a number of players on this offense that LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker said he could see playing at the Power 4 level, perhaps even LSU. Back to Brown. Zy Alexander trying to strip it, and a gain of 3. This is a proud Nicholls program. Winners of the Southland Conference in 3 of the last 6 years. They've made the FCS playoffs 4 out of the last 7 years. They came into this season with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, losing to Southern Illinois in the first round of the FCS playoffs, 35-0. It left a sour taste in their mouth, and they're trying to avenge that end this year. Guggenheim. Harold Perkins in there on the tackle.
No, we haven't called Quincy Brown's name in a little while here. He's bottom of your screen.
They look over the middle, and there is Deshaun Spears, the freshman, blanketing the wide receiver, and an incomplete pass from Pat McQuaid. Pass intended for Terry Matthews, and again the punt unit comes out for Nicholls. Are you at all surprised not to see them go for it in plus territory?
It's 4th and 6. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to feel pretty good about your performance if you're Nicholls. Again, 7 minutes to go, coming back from 23 points, very unlikely against an LSU team like this. So, like Coach Rebowe said to us earlier in the week, at this point, you're trying to get out of here healthy. You got to go across the country next week to play Sacramento State and the Hornets.
Very good team.
It's a hornet's nest.
We'll be right back in Baton Rouge.
We're sorry to
Saturday night SEC final is back for another season with Dari Noka, Chris Doring, Benjamin Watson. They'll take you through the biggest stories of the day and break down all the SEC games 11 Eastern right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Back in Baton Rouge, 44-21 LSU, 7:20 to go. And Josh Williams with a carry of 1 yard. It has been the Garrett Nussmeier show offensively for LSU. 26 of 35, 290 yards and 6 touchdowns, a career high in his 3rd career start for the Tigers. Nussmeier evading and nearly intercepted by Ty Marsh.
Yeah, there's a pressure on Nussmeier by the Colonels. Just kind of evades the pressure, trying to find his target across the middle there, Aaron Anderson. But there was some pressure. Zach Bernard was in the face of Nussmeier in a hurry. And again, give them, talking about them being Nicholls, give them a lot of credit here defensively, just fighting to the very end. A lot of pressure coming here on 3rd down.
Oh, and maybe some movement before the snap on LSU.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It is the redshirt freshman center DJ Chester with some movement. And now 3rd and 15 for the Tigers. Pressure up the middle. Nussmeier evading and hits his man. Xavier Thomas with the catch, but short of the 1st down marker. How about that mobility by Garrett Nussmeier?
A lot of mobility. There's pressure in the face of Nussmeier right up the middle. Ty Marsh, number 6, had Nussmeier dead to rights, just could not get him on the ground. You said mobility. That's a good way to put it. Escapability. How about that too?
Slippery.
Let's get all the superlatives in there.
Up over 300 yards in his first 3 starts as an LSU Tiger. Terry Matthews, the return man, off the foot of Peyton Todd. 36-yard punt. And it'll be Nicholls' ball. Well, Garrett Nussmeier, 27 for 37 today with 302 yards and 6 touchdowns. And Dustin Fox, he's put together 2 really good starts in 2024.
Yeah, I would have to go back and look. I'm sure that Joe Burrow has had some gaudy numbers when he began his career at LSU, his starts, but Nussmeier has really stepped in here from the bowl game last year after Jaden Daniels announced he was going to go pro. And then last week against SC, I thought he was every bit as good as their guy. And the interception was tough, but now we're seeing a new quarterback in here.
Christian Arsenault. And the handoff by Corey Warren. Now, to your point on Garrett Nussmeier, he ties the record set by Miles Brennan in 2020, who replaced Joe Burrow, threw for 300 yards or more in his first 3 starts. Then he was injured and was unable to continue. But Garrett Nussmeier is on one heck of a heater as QB1 for LSU.
And it just shows, that patience can pay off. LSU's very lucky to have Garrett Nussmeier here, in that quarterback room. He easily could have gone somewhere else. Easily could have. Decided not to, and now an opportunity here for him to have a couple years as a starting quarterback for the Tigers and really put together a nice resume for the next level.
And you don't see it anymore, Dustin,
no, you don't.
At this level and the era of the portal and the NIL. But it's all worked out for Nussmeier. He signed an NIL deal in the offseason with Powerade, among others. has waited in the wings behind Jaden Daniels, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner last year. But he said, when asked, did you ever consider transferring? He said, no, not really. Felt like he was divinely called to stay in Baton Rouge and try to lead this team back to the college football playoff. 12-yard reception by Jackson Dufresne, who now has 3 catches, the first 3 of his college career here in Baton Rouge.
Well, and Matt, just to piggyback your last point about the Tigers, everything is still in front of them. 12-team playoff could not have come at a more perfect time for LSU to drop a season opener because, again, there is room for error. They've got a smaller margin for error, but they can still get there. And frankly, they can easily lose another ball game down the stretch. And you know, it's a gauntlet in the SEC. We know that. So a loss would not necessarily be uncommon. But a 10-2 team in the SEC is most likely going to go to the playoffs.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because this is a team that was picked to finish 5th in the preseason. Do you see a 5th-place team from the SEC having a shot at the 12-team playoff?
How many wins do they have?
Right.
How high are they ranked?
Sure.
Those are the questions you have to ask yourself and look across the rest of the country and say, okay, is the SEC the best conference? Are they going to get their 5th best team in or 4th best team in? I think it's certainly possible.
Long throw from Arsenault, and well defended again by Zy Alexander in his first performance of the season, playing in the defensive backfield, recovering from that torn ACL. They are glad to have him back at the cornerback position.
I'm sure some LSU fans care about this, but Alabama's been in a dogfight tonight against South Florida.
You think just a few here in Baton Rouge are keeping one eye on that and one eye on this?
Maybe a couple. Hey, by the way, speaking of the great people of Baton Rouge, shout out to the great folks at Stab last night. Phenomenal dinner here. A little local flair.
Any dishes you'd care to recommend?
Well, if you would have made it to dinner party, you could be able to tell this story as well.
Wow. Throwing me under the bus.
I'm just saying, you missed a good dinner.
Rain check. I wouldn't mind coming back to Baton Rouge this year for another
I'm trying
Death
to think
Valley game.
what I like the most between the charbroiled oysters. My steak was great too.
Oh wow.
It's hard.
Okay, just stop.
It's hard to.
What was
stop
dessert
there? Oh, how about the lump crab cakes? Those were good.
I've heard enough
Solid.
out of you.
Yeah. Apologies.
Humble brag.
I mean, you were invited.
Here is Arsenault on 4th and 3, and it is in and out of the hands of his intended wide receiver. He was looking for Paxton LaFont, and it's a turnover on downs.
Just trying to out-leverage the LSU defense, nearly intercepted.
And I beg your pardon, that was Karaz Johnson, the intended receiver. And don't test Zy Alexander. If you're Brian Kelly,
Couple handoffs here.
well, how pleased are you with the response of your team after what the score was at the half?
I think you're impressed. You know, I think especially defensively, you're able to settle in. Yeah, they had the one explosive. Those happen. Ricky Collins going to come in here and finish the ball game off for the Tigers at quarterback.
This was a 23-14 game at the break. And right out of the gate, remember to start the second half, a touchdown by Nicholls. And at that point, we're looking around wondering what is happening in Baton Rouge on the home opener.
But listen, I think it's tough. You just played a game across the country on a Sunday night, so it's a short week. You don't win the game. You arrive back in Baton Rouge at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't get to have your typical Monday. You're forced back onto the field. We got more to come. 2-minute timeout. I want to call it the other thing, but I can't. 44-21 for Baton Rouge. A point in the fourth quarter.
Tuesday, 8 Eastern, right here on the SEC Network. We'll have our latest episode of True South with John T. Edge, traveling around Austin, Texas to Cisco's KG BBQ, meeting the locals, eating good food, talking about the South. LSU's going to walk out of here 1-1 and head into their first SEC matchup of the season, September 14th on ABC. Also the site of College Game Day, Columbia, South Carolina next weekend.
Yeah, listen, that's a big matchup on the road for the Tigers. You were tested here for, 2.5 quarters by Nicholls, and South Carolina coming off a huge win. They're 2-0 to start the season. Game Day, you mentioned, is going to be in Columbia for that matchup. UCLA, that's a game that LSU can win. South Alabama, that's a winnable game. Ole Miss is going to be a tough one. That's going to be a heck of a game.
They're looking for some revenge after losing to Ole Miss last year. And around the SEC, it started really well. Texas taking down Michigan 31-12. Arkansas losing a double OT heartbreaker to Oklahoma State. Georgia handling business against Texas Tech. Maybe a stunner at Jordan-Hare with the loss to California.
On the defense.
And South Carolina thumping Kentucky in what was a close game
1 minute,
at the half, but they ran away with it.
The clock will start on my signal.
And Alabama was in a bit of a dogfight with South Florida. They have since.
You said you watched the end of that Oak State game, right?
I did.
That was. It seemed like the Cowboys were going to win it in the first overtime.
A couple of missed field goals.
Missed kicks, yeah.
Ricky Collins and Caleb Jackson in the backfield for LSU. This game was 23-14 at the half. Nicholls scored the first touchdown of the second half. It was a 2-point game, and then all LSU since. And a good finish for the Tigers. Remember, that was the phrase in the building this week. Finish, killer instinct, urgency. They had it in the second half.
They got it done really the third quarter. You think about this game, there was so much scoring early in the first half. You mentioned the score, and now here in the fourth quarter, there's no point score. So LSU did just enough in that third quarter to allow them to pull away. And Brian Kelly's going to call a timeout, maybe
it appears so.
30 seconds and run another play, and then Nicholls will take over and take a knee. That's what I'm predicting. How about that?
Well, now you're in the business of predicting.
I'm not.
Second charge timeout. LSU. 30 seconds in length.
I don't know if anybody could have predicted this performance by Kyron Lacey tonight, a career-high 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
or maybe you might have predicted it.
Well, I mean, listen, in a game like this, you're going to go to your playmakers. And, coming off the game he had last weekend, especially the first half last week, and knowing that combined Mason Taylor and Kyron Lacey only got 4 targets in the second half after the monster first half they had. Clearly there was a concerted effort to get him back involved this weekend. Now, to his credit, according to the coaching staff, he was not, neither one of them, Mason or Kyron, were upset on the sidelines or, complaining about not getting the football, both team guys. But I think at some point you got to keep them engaged, and they got back to that here tonight.
Wobbling punt will bounce in favor of LSU, and it lands inside the 20. Final 19 seconds, and for number 19, what a performance on the biggest stage, certainly in his home state in Baton Rouge, and maybe he's getting a game ball to take home. Colin Guggenheim, 25 carries, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, capped off by that 67-yard touchdown run. Can't play much better than that, can you, Foxy?
You cannot. You cannot. And those guys, as I said, go to Sacramento State next week. That's a long trip. I was out there a couple years ago for a primetime game, Sac State in Montana. I love the FCS. The playoffs, some of the big games. I mean, these schools, they get into it. And Nicholls is a team that's going to be in the playoffs. And the team they're playing tonight has a chance to be in the playoffs. So Buckle up.
They say no year like it in college football. LSU, they got a scare in their home opener of the 100th season at Tiger Stadium, but they get it done in convincing fashion after all. And Brian Kelly's team improves to 1-1. They will head to Columbia, South Carolina next weekend to take on the Gamecocks in their first SEC test of the season. And they were led by first-year starting quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. 27 of 37, 302 yards and 6 touchdowns, providing Brian Kelly his 11th straight win in Tiger Stadium.
Well, it wasn't the prettiest to start, but they got the job done and did just enough. Now that they can really start to look ahead to that matchup next weekend. Huge matchup on ABC.
A lot of love between these two programs. First time they've ever met, but plenty of connections between coaches, between players. Tim Rebowe, an LSU alum, and 93 players on the roster from Nicholls, from this state. 62 on the LSU roster from this state. Many played with or against each other at the high school level. Fun, hopefully, to start a new little in-state matchup here between Nicholls and LSU.
Oh, yeah, and nothing but mutual respect by both the players and coaches from respective staffs. You know, there's a lot of fans, you know, from Nicholls that, frankly, the rest of the year will be rooting for the Tigers because we all know LSU is a big program here in the state of Louisiana. So this is a pretty cool deal for the state and for these young men.
Well, Alex Chappell is standing by with Garrett Nussmeier.
Garrett, congratulations on the win here at home tonight for the home opener. For your offense coming into this one, it was about finishing drives, execution, being efficient, and explosive plays. How would you say you responded to that?
Well, first, I just want to give all glory to the Most High. Thank God. I'm blessed, very thankful I get this opportunity to come out here in front of this crowd, in front of this stadium. It's a blessing. I think we did a great job as an offense tonight, just, you know, finishing drives. You know, I don't know what we were, but I think we were only short on 2 drives or whatever it was. But I think we did a really good job. O-line, they did a great job keeping me upright, and guys made plays. That's all you can ask for. So.
You bring up your O-line, keeping you upright. 6 touchdowns for you tonight. What allowed you to be so successful?
Just playmakers around me. You know, I didn't do nothing but deliver the football. You know, I did my job. Gave guys chances to make plays, and they made them. And, you know, obviously, you know, up front, you know, the bomb squad, they're a bunch of studs. And they did a great job keeping me safe, giving me time to deliver to the playmakers.
Garrett, you all get ready to head on the road for the start of conference play. What does this win do for your team as you get ready for South Carolina?
It gives us confidence, get the first win. You know, we got to stay together, stay strong, and keep rolling into SEC play. You know, I think we got a really good squad. You know, I think you can see that through the last 2 weeks. We just got to clean things up, play tighter, play smarter, play together, and we'll be good.
Garrett, thanks for your time. Congrats.
God, appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys.
Garrett, thank you. Alex, thank you. Great stuff on the sideline all night. Garrett Nussmeier, a career-high 6 touchdowns in LSU's home opening win against Nicholls. That'll do it from Tiger Stadium in its 100th season on the campus of LSU. Once again, our final score, 44-21. For Dustin Fox, Alex Chappell, our entire crew, I'm Matt Schumacher. Good night from Death Valley.